set you free, girl. You say he loves you more than me, so I will set you free. Go with him. Go with him. Anna, girl, before you go now, I want you to know now that I still love you so. But if he loves you more, go with him. All of my life I've been searching for a girl to love me like I love you. Oh, now, but every girl I've ever had breaks my heart and leave me sad. What am I supposed to do? Oh, Anna, just one more thing, girl. You give back your ring to me, and I will set you free. Go with him. All of my life I've been searching for a girl to love me like I love you. But let me tell you now that every girl I've ever had breaks my heart and leave me sad. What am I supposed to do? Oh, Anna, just one more thing, girl. You give back your ring to me, and I will set you free. Go with him. Go with him. You can go with him, girl. Go with him.
Anna. Okay, this is the first tune I've done, which is a cover. Arthur Alexander's tune. This drum part is really, really similar to the song In My Life. Now, In My Life gets a lot of notice these days for how simple and just elegant the drum part is, how perfect a fit it is. Well, this came first. And of course, because it's a cover, and because the Beatles really almost lifted their parts right from that tune, like that guitar lick, the way John sings the vocals, even the drums are lifted from Arthur Alexander's cover. So the drummer on that tune in 1962 was Kenny Buttrey, the Nashville drummer. So credit where credit's due. Kenny's really the guy that came up with this little part, at least for now. I haven't researched every possible drum part ever and the origin of everything, so he maybe got it from someone else too, which is all fine. It's cool to see how the guys were borrowing ideas from each other, and it's cool to see how this idea that Ringo borrowed for the cover later influenced other stuff. It also is really similar to the tune All I've Gotta Do. Very, very similar drum part. It's cool to see that whatever the idea is, whatever the origin of it is, like it ended up influencing, so many things to come afterward. So that's very cool. Ringo's just so consistent in this one. He's just got such great time. You can tell he's following. I suspect that they're recording this with multiple parts at once. Maybe not the vocals, but at least the drums, bass, and guitars, I would guess. Maybe probably the vocals too. Maybe it's just all at once, because you can hear how the time morphs if you really dig into it, and maybe you have to play along with it to feel it. But they start out quite a bit slower than they get to later on in the tune, and there's no sense of Ringo trying to pull that back, like, hey, you're speeding up, which a lot of drummers do. I'm guilty of that. I've done that before. What a jerk thing to do. Just stay with the band. You don't got to try to be the hero. That doesn't help anything. You can tell how Ringo's following them, how he's making sure that it's cohesive and it sounds great as a whole. What a great quality, a great trait. I think any good studio drummer has to have that, but Ringo's a great live drummer and a great studio drummer, which is not as common. So that's super cool to just hear his timing. He's got his little Ringoisms. Some of the fills I played off my right hand just because I'm right-handed, but these are all really left-handed style fills. They're really cool. If you take out all those little notes in between, you really have 3, 4. You get that sort of rhythm, like you get an accent every 3/16, which is very clave-ish, which I'm hyper aware of now, just having done No Reply recently, or I talk about the clave. I also have a teacher at the moment who is an expert at Latin rhythms, and he talks about how there's a clave, meaning clave literally in Spanish means clue or key. It's like the key to the rhythm, and the other stuff going on around it is based off of that key. So even just in something as small as a fill, like a really short phrase, like a 1-bar fill, you can see how Ringo's got like a clave, a key going on to a lot of his fills. I don't know if that's intuitive anymore for drummers these days. There's so much music to listen to that isn't clave based. When I learned, I did a lot of you do a lot of straight 16th notes, You do a lot of that kind of thing, or just straight eights. And it feels cool, looks cool maybe, but it really is missing that sort of flavor you get from having a rhythm that's like 2, 3, 4. So I just think that that's fascinating to me. That is so cool. That idea of clave, which is present in all the music that came before Ringo, all the jazz and all the rhythms and ideas coming from other styles of music that they're listening to, like all the bossa nova stuff going on at the time, that's incorporated in his fills. And I think for him, it is really intuitive. I don't think he's like planning, how can I get a clave in there? I think that's just how he feels it. That's just how it is to him, which is awesome. One great bit of Ringo subtlety is the hi-hat, meaning the sustain, the length of time that the hi-hat lasts. Because if you clamp down really hard with your left foot, you're going to get a short note. And that's not what happens. That would probably be the instinct that I would have. Just a nice, crisp, short note. Instead, you have to let up ever so lightly and have a bit of finesse with your foot and have a little bit of sustain. On the recording, it sounds like the sustain lasts all the way through till the snare drum note. And it's like, I tried to get that when I was playing, and that's a little bit tricky. I don't hear on the recording any of Ringo closing the hi-hat with his left foot, because you can usually hear when it's, like when there's an abrupt close, you get that little chick sound at the end most of the time. I listen for that the whole tune through, and I can't hear it at all. So it's like he's just controlling the sustain by how much pressure he puts with his foot, and that's a really cool and very subtle musical choice that I love. Such a fun tune, a great little cover. Ringo Starr is the man. It's so fun to play along and hear John singing in my ears and feel like I'm in the band. I just love it, having so much fun and learning so much. Thanks for tuning in.